In 5 weeks, I went from an EY finalist interview to a charity event in Las Vegas to Derby weekend in Louisville to standing in front of the advisors building this platform with us. It looks like 4 different worlds, but to me, it's just one life. Last episode, you saw the machine, the family of companies, our people, the platform, the meeting where I just laid out the vision for everybody. And this episode is what it looks like to actually live inside that machine for about a month. I got some recognition, we're doing some charity, threw in a little bit of horse racing, our financial advisors, family, all the travel, and all this stuff is all happening at once. And the question people always ask me is, how do you balance all of that? And so I don't think about balance the way most people do. I think about alignment. And if it all points at the same mission, it doesn't feel like it's too much. It just feels like it's just my life. The EY Entrepreneur of the Year thing started like a lot of big things start, with an email I wasn't expecting. I got nominated, and honestly, my first thought was, hey, that's pretty cool. Let's just see what happens. Then the application was accepted, and I had this first interview. It was crazy. It was actually a lot of work, to be honest. And suddenly, after all that, it wasn't just a nice nomination anymore. It was people asking real tough questions about my companies, my vision, the risks, our strategy, and whether the things we were building can actually reach the scale that I say it can. Then I got the call that I was a finalist. It's crazy. I can't believe I made it that far. There are 44 of us as finalists. That's 40 companies. Some are really massive names, public companies, founders with exits, brands people recognize, and then it's just us, a family-led financial services platform out of San Diego trying to help 1 million American households make better retirement decisions. You can go to EY's website right now if you want and see the whole list. 44 names, like I said, 40 companies. These are all big businesses across Southern California, Arizona, and Nevada. The interesting part of this whole process is at one point, they didn't even want to hear from me anymore. They wanted to hear from the people who actually work with me. So Joe and Josh, Ian and Ty, they all got on a call and told them what they see from the inside. And honestly, that's the part that means the most to me. Because, anybody can pitch themselves. But your team, they know whether the story is real. After that came the photo shoot, and then the final interview, which was a Zoom call with about a dozen people, spanning about 12 minutes. They wanted an elevator pitch first, then they asked a bunch of questions, and there was no extension on the time limit. This was the kind of room where there's nowhere to hide. Out of all the questions they asked me, one stood out. And so one of the judges, he asked me about AI. He asked, how is it reshaping wealth management and how do we use it today? And whether or not it's competitive with what we do. And guys, that's the real question. Because if you're a financial advisor right now, AI is either the biggest opportunity of your career or the biggest threat to your livelihood. And the way you answer that question to yourself in private is going to decide whether you're still in this business 10 years from now. And so here's what I told the judges. For decades, the moat for a financial advisor was their knowledge. You go to school, you get licensed, you get certifications, and then you put in the time. And at the end of it all, you know the things that most people don't. And that's the perceived moat. But there's a problem. AI, it knows all of it too. So if your knowledge is your moat, you really don't have a moat anymore. So what is the moat now? It's called being more human. AI is going to eliminate 60% of the repetitive work an advisor does every day. The opportunity isn't to fight that, guys. It's to use that time to actually be there for your clients in a way no piece of software ever will be. And over time, financial advisors, in my opinion, aren't going to be financial knowledge workers. They're going to be more like life advisors. And that's the part that keeps me up at night. Not whether AI replaces us, because it's not. It's whether we're able to move fast enough to use AI to become more human faster than the industry can convince itself that nothing has changed. So you do the interview and then you wait. The final event's coming up. It's at the Waldorf Astoria in Dana Point, and I don't know what they're going to say, but I know what this process has already gave me. It forced me to explain clearly and honestly why we're building this, and it made me say out loud the thing that matters most. The moat in this business isn't knowledge anymore. It's actually being human. So the awards and recognition is nice, but it's really not about me. That's about my people. And by the way, if the only thing you're building is something for people to clap for, you're probably missing the point. The point is what you do with the platform once people are paying attention, and that's what we're doing right here. A few days later, I was in Vegas for something that had nothing to do with awards. There were no judges there, no finalist list, and no business pitch. Just a cause that matters to me and a reminder that if you're lucky enough to build something, you probably should use it for more than yourself. Okay, so we flew out to Las Vegas for the 4th annual Baller Dream Foundation Celebrity Poker Tournament at Circa. And it was 2 days downtown Las Vegas, starting with a Saturday night dinner and then the poker tournament on Sunday night up on the rooftop about 60 floors or so above the Strip. This room was full of Hall of Famers and championship athletes, professional entertainers, business leaders, and families who fly in every year for this. And this is the kind of room you really don't get into without an invitation. But I was lucky enough to be sitting at a table with people I grew up watching on TV. It was so cool. But this event, it was set up really for one thing: kids fighting cancer and their families fighting alongside them. The Baller Dream Foundation supports kids from birth to 29 years old, all the way through their treatment and remission and everything that comes after. And so last year, it was incredible. They raised $500,000, but this year, with this room, with all the people, the weekend cleared over $1 million. I'm so proud of them. It's fantastic. And so, as I reflect on it, you can build companies and you can win awards and even manage billions of dollars. And you could be in a room with all these fancy people, but if none of that turns into something useful for a kid in a hospital bed who will never know your name, what's the point? And that's the reason we go. And that's the reason LCG sponsors this event. And honestly, that's the reason why I'm going to keep going every year they ask me. And then we're off to Louisville, Kentucky. We started the week doing bourbon tours. We had dinners every night. We went to the Kentucky Oaks on Friday and the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. And yes, Friday was a very good day. I won pretty big at the Oaks, but Saturday, not so much. But guys, that's horse racing. And what I love about horse racing is the same thing I love about business. People think it's luck because they only see the finish line. They don't see all the homework, the form, the pace, the trainer angles, the post position, the track biases, the discipline to pass on a bad bet when everyone else is excited. And that mindset, it shows up everywhere. Wealth management, recruiting, software, our conferences, and our partnerships. So you either do the homework or you don't. And you either see the field clearly or you chase the noise. So when people ask if this is work-life balance, I don't know. It depends on what you mean by balance. To me, this is life. The work, the causes, the family, the friends, the games, the mission, it's all threaded together. So the danger really isn't doing too much. I see the danger is doing a lot of things that don't connect. And for me, all these do. And then after all the travel, after Vegas and Louisville, and after the interviews and the waiting for the EY thing, I came back home because the next stop wasn't a flight or a hotel. It was right back home in our own building with our financial advisors. And now it was time to get ready for our annual conference for financial advisors that we call Ignite 2026. And if I'm being honest, the conference was the moment of the whole month that mattered most to me. Because from the outside, a stretch like this can look like too much. But to me, it isn't too much. It's just life. It's my life. And the only way it becomes too much is if I forget why I'm doing it. It's not about building a company big enough to impress people. I don't really care about that. It's about building something strong enough to help 1 million households and still be the kind of person who can enjoy the ride along the way. And man, I am enjoying it. And so there's a lot more to say about Ignite, so we're gonna give it its own episode. Here's a quick preview. So on our next episode of Journey to 1 Million, we'll share some inside baseball on Quotient Advisor Partners so you can see exactly who we are and what we believe in and what we're actually building. So if you're a financial advisor thinking about what's next for your career, that's the one you want to see. We'll see you next time.